So in this video, I'm going to go through some clear exercises that focus around the biomechanics of movements that are key to increasing swing speed, so you can understand how the body should move and can move better in the golf swing to help you hit the ball further. So with all these exercises and movements, we're going to focus on the principles of biomechanical movements that are particular around the centre of mass and something called pressure shift, often referred to in golf coaching terms as weight shift. However, weight shift is a misleading term and not fully understood, so we're going to talk about how pressure shift can be maximised in certain exercises and how this could transfer to your golf swing. If I explain this in really simple terms, what I want you to imagine is if when you're in a golf posture, you can imagine some pressure into the ground through each individual foot, 50-50 roughly. You can also imagine your centre of gravity or your centre of mass, if you split your body in half, is right in the centre of the body. The centre of mass stays pretty neutral, pretty centred throughout the golf swing, whereas this pressure, the pressure shift, will move from each foot in the golf swing. So if you imagine going in a backswing position, you'll be able to feel more pressure in your trail foot, in my case my right foot, versus my left foot. Whereas my centre of mass, if we think of that line again, has stayed relatively centred. It hasn't kind of shifted over here or gone in the opposite direction. And then as we unwind the hips into the lead side, naturally there's more pressure that goes into the front and the left foot. So the centre of pressure is something we're going to try and develop with these exercises, which can help you increase your golf swing. So the first exercise is going to be focusing on what it feels like to move pressure and keep mass relatively central. This is a movement-based feel, so you need a kettlebell that's not too heavy, around about 8 to 12 kilos, depending on your strength. Imagine you're just going to go into some form of golf posture. So you've got those knees nice and soft, you just sat into the ground, you can feel those pressure for each feet individually, roughly 50-50, with a little bit of posture or hinge over. From here, all I'm going to do is rock the kettlebell side to side with my upper body only. So as you can see, I'm just literally just turning my chest, turning my shoulders. But the mass and the pressure hasn't really moved. So now I'm going to just feel like I rotate my hip back when I turn and rotate my hip forward when I turn, focusing on the pressure going to the right heel or the trail heel into the lead heel as we turn. So in a nice flowy motion, what you should be able to see is my centre of mass has stayed relatively neutral. There's no excessive movement, but my centre of pressure is going right heel, left heel, right heel, left heel. And I'm just getting that feeling, that awareness of what it means to create a pressure shift in the best or most efficient pattern without essentially compensating with my mass. So the next movement, we're going to focus specifically on what it can feel like to create a big pressure shift in the backswing and how moving some mass and creating some momentum will be the most efficient way to load properly in that backswing to create basically a place to be able to push off into the lead side. You need a heavy medicine ball, something like this. Again, depending on strength, between 8 to 12 kg. You could go a little bit heavier. You could also use maybe a weight, something to hold into position. But the thing with a ball is you actually cup it. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into that same golf sort of posture we created with a kettlebell, cupping the ball in slow motion, just so you get an idea of the movement. If I was to try and take a backswing, I can't lift this ball up with my arm, so I'm having to move some mass and some pressure to get that ball to go into a backswing type motion. So all we want to try and focus on with a little bit of energy is turning forward to then try and turn back. So I'm trying to create a big pressure shift, and what you can see naturally is this left heel lifts because I'm shifting my pressure into my heel. I'm creating a little bit of mass shift So that centre of mass is turning to my trail side to create the momentum, which is allowing me to turn the heavy ball into position. If this ball was light, I could just lift my body and cheat it. So the heavy ball is giving me a feel of what it means to turn or move my pressure properly to my trail side. So now you're going to take a lighter ball, roughly 3 to 5 kilos, and we're going to try and use these same principles we've just covered on how to move mass and pressure explosively in a rotational power output. So in a slow motion aspect, I want you to try and create that same momentum going back, like we did with a heavy ball, and then that same feel of being able to put pressure into the lead side, turn out of the way, and actually even walk through to create a full momentum shift. So if I show you this in slow motion, I'm going to turn and then walk through. So I've got all my pressure and even my mass has gone into my lead side. If I do this explosively with max effort, I have no choice but to load and push off my trail side to rotate hard into my lead side. So done maximal. See how I got all the way through that max intent. So then finally we want to put all those 3 pieces of movements into the golf swing. You can use a speed stick for this, but I would also recommend probably trying to use your driver and hitting a ball. Also using a radar to measure your speed to see if your feels and your reels kind of match up. Obviously we want to do this with maximal intent, but there's obviously a technical and biomechanical principle that you need to be able to transfer over. So don't expect this to all happen automatically always. So what we want to focus on, I would always say try and start with a club that way, so then you've got a little bit more opportunity to create some momentum, shifting that mass a little bit and getting a big pressure shift into the trail side, being able to get a big powerful turn, and then I want you to feel like you almost push into that left side as early as you can and swing as fast as you can. So if I show you like this, I'm going to go there and really turn, getting as much pressure into that lead side. Then I would also recommend a little step in to get that pressure shift kicking all the way through, like we've done with the ball. So where we take it back, as you feel like you're going back, you take then a step forward to get that pressure. And again, done with max intent, we should get a feel for what it means to move the pressure in the right way, to be able to create as big a stretch, as big a turn, and basically sequencing in the downswing so our mass and pressure are connected up a little bit more efficiently to maybe get that across in the golf swing to increase some club head speed.